सबको मेरा सादर नमस्कार. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all the esteemed participants who have joined us today from the different parts of the world. My name is Pranav. I'm a faculty at Jawaharlal Nehru University, and I welcome you all on behalf of Pragyanam JNU. Today's program gives me a feeling of sadness and at the same time gratitude. I feel very sad to know about the horrors going on in our neighboring country, Bangladesh. And I feel very sad about the victims of the mindless violence that is going on in Bangladesh. But at the same time, I also wish to express my gratitude to our dynamic speaker who accepted our invitation. And I also express my gratitude to all the learned participants who have shown their sense of empathy and responsibility by joining us to discuss this issue. Before moving forward towards the structure of the program, it's my duty to give a brief introduction to the initiative called Pragyanam JNU. Pragyanam JNU is a small group of academics of Jawaharlal Nehru University filled with the desire to create awareness about the facts which are generally ignored or sidelined by the cabal of elites who have monopolized the domain of knowledge production and dissemination in India. We believe that the truth shines in its own light, and we merely need to focus our gaze beyond the existing self patterns and deep-rooted narratives. Friends and colleagues, today's program is structured mainly into 4 sections. First, our learned colleague and a shining scholar, Dr. Soumyajit Ray from the School of International Studies, will give his introductory remarks and also welcome our esteemed speaker. Second, our esteemed speaker, Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh, will deliver his talk for about 40 to 45 minutes. Third, there will be a question and answer session of 15 to 20 minutes. And at the end, at the end of the program, our senior colleague and a scientist par excellence, an administrator and an able administrator, Professor Arun Kharat, will give his concluding remarks and propose vote of thanks. Dear scholars, there are 2 important requests that I wish to make. First, please feel free to ask questions. And if you have any questions or comments, please write it in the chat box. The moderator will pass on the questions to our speaker. So when the talk is going on, you can also write your questions. Second, there is a humble request, and I urge you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and encourage others also to do so. One simple click by you on YouTube will be a great encouragement to us to continue our endeavor with great vigor and vitality. Now, I humbly request Dr. Soumyajit Ray, our friend and colleague, and an accomplished author, to give his introductory remarks and also welcome the speaker. Dr. Soumyajit Ray.
Thank you, Dr. Pranav. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And at the outset, I must thank Pragyanam JNU for calling me here and to inviting me to deliver the introductory remarks on this very important topic. It's not only a topic, it's an ongoing thing that there's a reign of terror on the minorities, religious minorities in Bangladesh. Now, where do we begin? The reign of terror was there in 1971 as well. The Razakars were there in 1971 as well. The pro-Pakistan violent mobs that used to roam around and kill Hindus, Muslims on behalf of the Pakistan government. And so minorities suffering in Bangladesh is nothing new, I've heard an argument for a very long time, even though I'm from Bengal, but not from that part which has ultimately become Bangladesh after an interlude as East Pakistan, that India should have annexed, East Pakistan in 1971 itself. That was a mindless suggestion. Why mindless? But that's because, if these people who were not able to stay with their co-religionists, in peace for 25, even 25 years, how would they have stayed in a united India with most people who are not conversant with the Bengali language? And not only that, they were not even Muslim. Fine. And second, if such a calamity would have happened, and I would say that a calamity it was, if such a calamity would have happened, then the Hindus in Bengal would have become a minority. In any case, I think everyone knows that most Bengalis are Muslims than Hindus. So that would have reduced the Bengalis in a united Bengal within India, whether within India or as Saravardi and Sarup Bose had proposed that outside India, united Bengal, anything would have reduced the Hindus to a minority anyway. So what I'm seeing, you all know that Bangladesh had taken a very, it turned towards Islamic conservatism, which is now actually fundamental. This fundamentalism was not the problem in 1947. Now the problem has been compounded. There was in 1947 what is known as communalism. Today it is communalism and fundamental. And many people, without knowing the definitions in political science, they say that what is going on in Bangladesh is ethnic cleansing. It's not ethnic cleansing because both the Muslims and the Hindus belong to the same ethnicity. Fine. It's what is known as communal cleansing, one religious community trying to decimate another religious community. The number of Hindus in Bangladesh had reduced in East Pakistan, in East Bengal, then East Pakistan and Bangladesh. It had reduced substantially. I personally believe that Bangladesh should never have existed. India should not have interfered in the internal affairs of Pakistan in 1971. That's my personal belief. It's not a partisan belief. It's my personal belief because the problem has been compounded. If East Pakistan would have existed, that would have been a trouble point for Pakistan itself, and they would never have dared to do what they're doing today. For us, there are millions. Even of Calcutta, if you go to Calcutta, I am from Calcutta. I was born and brought up in Calcutta. Calcutta is teeming with Bangladeshis. I've never seen so many Bangladeshis in Calcutta when I was a child or when I was in college. It looks like a Bangladeshi colony. They're getting everything. They're coming here, they're opening their hotels, they're availing of the facilities of India, and they're killing Hindus there. What they're trying to do is to have an Islamic republic which is fully composed of Muslims. Hindus should not exist. I mean, we had millions of Hindu refugees coming in first in 1947 and then in 1971. There have been anti-Hindu riots in East Pakistan. There have been anti-Hindu programs in Bangladesh. Fine. So that has been, for a very long time, it has been the case. From the time Jatik Janak Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated on 15th of August. Look at the date, 15th of August. 15th of August is India's Independence Day. On the wee hours of that day, he was assassinated on 15th of August 1975. And we had presidents and prime ministers who were supportive of Islamism, whether it was Ziaur Rahman or his widow Khaleda Zia, or whether it was Hassan Muhammad Ershad. But where do we go? They had their Pakistan, they had their Bangladesh. So another personal belief is that we had seen our prime minister going there and attending temples, going to temples, doing puja in temples. I personally believe that this was in retaliation of that. They would not accept India as a big brother, and they view the Hindus in Bangladesh as agents of the big brother. That is a reason that I I believe in, and I am quite confident that they would not allow the Hindus to survive because of that. And Bangladesh is not afraid of India. And the other thing that I'm telling you is a very wrong impression that goes around that there's a secular government that is in a faith neutral government under Sheikh Hasina Wazid, and the ruling party, the Awami League, is a secular party that broke away from the Muslim League long back, and they are not involved in anti-Hindu activity. This is wrong. Anti-Hindu activities have been committed by, done by people, not only by the Islamist parties, not only by the Jamaat-e Islami or the Islamic Oiko Jot or whatever. Anti-Hindu program, anti-Hindu activities, even the Awami League, local leaders, activists, they are also responsible. They are not pro-Hindu. And in any case, the Hindus are in such small numbers now that they are no more, their votes also do not matter. Now, in any case, I mean, I don't know the specifics because I don't belong to that area, either academically or in terms of family. So, in any case, I am not the speaker here. I will just to speak on that, to enlighten us on the reign of terror on the minorities in Bangladesh at present, in recent times, that what we are seeing. We have a profound and most celebrated scholar in our midst. That's Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh, director of the Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies. He is a very frontline and celebrated academic who had held senior academic positions, and not only that, what is remarkable about him, that his academic interest in Swami Vivekananda, not only his thesis, the doctoral thesis, but 3 postdoctoral dissertations that he had worked on are on Swami Vivekananda, or on the various facets of the life and thoughts of Swami Vivekananda. And I would make a positive recommendation to both my colleagues and my students to go through his works. And he had, of course, ventured into politics as well. And politics actually regards such people. Indian politics actually looks forward to such profound scholars as Dr. Ghosh. So I hand over the podium to Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh, director of the Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies, to enlighten us with his views on the carnage that the minorities are facing in Bangladesh at present. Dr. Ghosh.
May I be please permitted to keep my video off so that you can hear me clearly? Am I permitted to do so?
Sure, sir, sure.
Shubho Bijaya Dashami.
Apnakeo, sir. Shubho Bijaya Dashami.
Happy Dasera. And today is Kojaguri Lakshmi Puja in West Bengal.
Yes, sir.
And I start from where Professor Roy has concluded. Today is Lakshmi Puja, but the place, as Professor Roy told, I also don't belong to Bangladesh in any way, because in the Bengali speaking Hindu community, there is a concept of Ghoti and Bangal. Both Professor Roy and myself are Ghotis. Ghotis means originally from West Bengal.
Yes, sir.
And we generally support the football team that is Mohan Bagan.
Yes, sir.
And the Bangals who came from East Bengal as refugees, they generally support the football team known as East Bengal.
Yes.
So both of us don't belong to East Bengal in any way. And this Kojaguri Lakshmi Puja, today is Kojaguri Lakshmi Puja, generally takes place in the houses of East Bengalis.
Yeah.
We West Bengalis have Lakshmi Puja on Mahalakshmi Puja, that is Deepavali.
Yeah.
So why I told this, when there was partition of India in 1947, It was basically partition of two provinces, Punjab and Bengal. All other provinces or princely states went to Pakistan or came to India totally with its all territorial integrity intact. The two states which were bifurcated on religious lines were Punjab and Bengal. The problem in Punjab and Bengal were different. In Punjab, there was clean transfer of population. The Sikhs and Hindus came to India. The Muslims went to Pakistan. And the problem got solved in 1947. Bengalis generally, Hindu Bengalis especially, are an intellectual community, and they felt that let not there be a clean transfer of population. And this clean transfer of population never took place in the eastern borders. And in 1947, if you take the entire Bengali community, 46% were non-Muslims, 42% were Hindus, 4% were Buddhists, total 46% non-Muslims, and 54% were Muslims. Now, 54% Muslims took 67% of undivided land of Bengal. 46% Hindus got the rest, 33%. And that too, where Professor Roy started, was a great political debate. The elder brother of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Barrister Sarup Chandra Bose, was in favor of united Bengal outside India, which was negated by the Indian National Congress. And the other stalwart, the renowned son of Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, Dr. Sarup Prasad Mukherjee, was in favor of the Hindu majority districts of Bengal joining India. So the Mukherjee doctrine was that if there is partition on religious lines, it should not be only on the basis of states. In case of two states, Punjab and Bengal, very big two states, where the minority population is nearly 50%, there the partition should be on the lines of districts. The Hindu majority, Sikh majority districts of Punjab and Bengal will not go to Pakistan. And this Dr. Mukherjee doctrine practically saved East Pakistan and West Bengal from joining Pakistan. Then Pakistan was Pakistan and Bangladesh taken together. West Pakistan and East Pakistan taken together. And if Eastern Punjab and Western Bengal were not parts of India, Jammu, Kashmir and Northeast India would have been out of India. There would have no links between India and Jammu and Kashmir and India and northeastern states. So the Mukherjee doctrine practically redrew the map of India. That's why Jinnah told that he got a moth-eaten Pakistan. But even then, Jinnah was successful to chalk out 26% of undivided land of India for 24% of Muslims at that time in United India. So 24% Muslims took away 26% of the land of undivided India and made Pakistan. That was West and East Pakistan together. Now, after partition, if we take the census, in West Pakistan, 1941, the last census, 15% were Hindus and other minorities. Today, if you take the census report of Pakistan, it is less than 3%. In the eastern border, if you take the census report of Bangladesh after its creation, that is 1951, 1947, we got our independence. The first census after independence was 1951. In that census report, the Hindu population of Bangladesh was 22%. Today, it is 8%. And the Muslim population of West Bengal was 20%. Today, it is nearly 30%. The rate of growth of Muslim population in West Bengal is 1.8%. In Assam, it is 3.3%. And if we take all India, it is 0.8%. So if we calculate the statistics, then in Bengal, it is twice the more, and it is in Assam, it is thrice the more. And if we go by the reports of Government of India given in the Parliament, Jaiswalji was the minister in the UPA government led by Dr. Manmohan Singh, gave a report which came out in the newspapers that nearly 1 crore 25 lakhs Bangladeshi infiltrators are in India. Later on, Rijjuji, the then minister in the NDA regime, gave report that this number is nearly 2 crores. And you will find the logic that Hindus only left Bangladesh and came to West Bengal doesn't stand so much, because 80% of the population of West Bengal was Hindus. Today it is less than 70%, nearly 68. 12% Hindus have evaporated from West Bengal. So practically Hindus and Muslims both are dropping into West Bengal. And the demography of West Bengal and Assam is changing fast. One simple example, Murshidabad came to West Bengal and Khulna went to Pakistan, that is East Bengal. Khulna was the Hindu majority district at that time, and Murshidabad was Muslim majority district at that time. During 1947, in Murshidabad, the Muslim population was 54%. Today it is 65%. And Khulna, which was Hindu majority at the time of partition, which went in exchange of Murshidabad to East Pakistan at present Bangladesh, the Hindu population is 20%. It came down from 51 to 20. So you can find the situation in the eastern region very critical from the perspective of India's safety, security, national unity, and integrity. And here the relevance of CAA is very important, because the Hindus who are there in Bangladesh will not be able to stay. Ethnic cleansing is going on in a systematic manner that is very clear if you do the study through the census reports. Now they are doctoring the census reports too. They are saying, no, not 8%, 10% Hindus are there. That is a white lie. So they have taken their land, they are coming to India, and they are believing in ethnic cleansing, practically all in their favor. And this is going on in the name of liberalism, secularism, inclusiveness. One thing, which nation on earth will accept illegal infiltration? Leave religion. From economic perspective, which nation will accept illegal infiltration? And here Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, not only Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Acharya Kripalini, Chakravarti Raja Gopalachari, Babu Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, all were in favor of transfer of population and property at the time of independence, when the nation was partitioned on the basis of religion. And 24% Muslims took 26% of the land and went out of India. Nehruji opposed. But Nehruji would have not thought of such ethnic cleansing both in Pakistan and Bangladesh. And if we take the Bengali speaking population today, 33% are Hindu Bengalis. If you take the Bengali speaking population around the world, 1% are Buddhists and rest 66% are Muslims. So no renowned Bengali author, singer, film star, anybody will speak in favor of Hindus because they have a huge market in Bangladesh. They will write books, those books will be sold there. They will make films, the films will be marketed there. So they will never speak. Because amongst the Bengalis, 66% are Muslims, 34% are non-Muslims, and the drop you find from 46 to 34, it is 12% in 7 census. If you study the census report before 1947, from 1901, 1% Hindu population used to come down each census. If we take into consideration 7th census report, 7% Hindu population coming down is understandable. But how it became 12%, where the rest 5 went? This is also silent conversion through social pressure. Due to economic constraints. Now, if we take into consideration the terror which has taken place during Durga Puja this time, it is not something which is unique in 2021. It's happening from 1947, systematically, strategically, calculatively. What has happened? That it has crossed certain limits this time and became international news. And that too because today there is a social media, and today there are certain news channels which do not agree to the earlier thesis of suppressing news, whatever is coming from Bangladesh. For that, this came out. But this is happening. And the census report is clear picture. that 22% of Hindu population came down to less than 10%. This proves the thesis that this is happening. Wherever there is peace, safety, security, the minority population generally increases. Look at America, minority population is increasing. Look at Europe, minority population is increasing. Look at India. During 1947, the Muslim population was 9%. Today, it is nearly 15%. And the minority population was 15%. Today, it is nearly 22%. And look at Pakistan and Bangladesh. So there is a liberal pseudo-argument that minorities everywhere faces the same tragedy. No, my friend. Very sincere study through the census report makes it very clear that minorities in Pakistan and Bangladesh is at a receiving end. And that is not in case of India. That is clearly proved by the steady increase of the minority population in the post-independence period. Now, institutions, international institutions are speaking up. ISKCON has shown concern. All throughout the world, they are organizing protests. And such a big organization was targeted. Not only targeted, they lost their monks. They were butchered inside the temples. In this 21st century. And reports are coming in. TV channels are showing it. Concern has been raised by Bharat Sevashram Sangha. The General Secretary has written letters. And at last, concern has been shown also by Ramakrishna Mission. So 3 big Hindu organizations in Ramakrishna Mission, 3 big Hindu organizations in Bangladesh, the biggest ISKCON, then Ramakrishna Mission and Bharat Sevashram Sangha, all has expressed deep concern in what is happening in Bangladesh. And all 3 are international organizations. They're not Indian organizations only. They're branches throughout the world. And their followers are expressing deep concern throughout the world. And now, a new unity is coming up. Throughout the world, 34% are Christians, 22% are Muslims, 15% are Hindus, 7% are Buddhists, 1% follow Sikh, Jain, and other Indic practices. If you add all these, 23% of the world population follow religions which are born in India. Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, Indic religions. And those who say that speaking for this Hindu cause in Bangladesh is communalism, they should be remembered that it is not communalism. It is speaking against religio-cultural expansionism and imperialism, and in favor of religio-cultural containment and nationalism. It is Semitic religious expansionism against the dharmic religious identity. So this is not communalism. This term has to be corrected. When we fight against political imperialism, it is natural. When you fight against economic imperialism, that is also natural. And when you stand for religio-cultural nationalism against religio-cultural imperialism, that is also natural. So this has to be revisited, this concept. And the most tragic part, even the crudest of the crude in human civilization fight in the battlefield. The most coward amongst the cowards drop in and target the woman and the children. In Bangladesh, the women and the children are targeted. They have not been spared. Even girls who have been as young as below the maturity age has not been spared. There is a demand that government of India, as it has rightly taken the step to rescue the Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Christians from Afghanistan, should do the same in case of Bangladesh. And this should be done on humanitarian ground. Each human being has the right to life. And during partition, our national leaders told that those who are on the other side of the border as minorities, if they can't stay there, India can't keep silent and see the massacre going on. Bangladesh got independence due to the golden role of the Indian army. But look into their history books. The role of the Indian army is marginalized. And only Mukti Bahini is glorified. It took birth as a secular nation. Today in constitution, it is both a secular nation and theocratic nation. Can you imagine a constitution where both secularism and theocratic approach is accepted side by side? And what is the conclusion? At the grassroots. And what we think, that we should not overreact because of the China factor. If you overreact, the Hasina government will fall. If the Hasina government falls, the pro-Chinese, pro-Pakistani Khaleda Jia will come up. So we have to do a tight walking. And this tight rope walking has concluded to such a level that Bangladesh has taken the advantage all along. Here, our foreign affairs strategists has to rethink. This can't go on, that a reign of terror will continue on the minorities of Bangladesh, and we will go on giving all types of help to Bangladesh. This both can't continue at the same time. As we have decided that terror and talks cannot continue in case of Pakistan, in the same way, infiltration, massacre of minorities will continue, and help also will flow in case of Bangladesh. This should not happen. And India should not take the responsibility of the excess population of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is pushing in its excess population in India. And the eastern region will eternally remain poor if this continues. And I have told the rate of growth of populations, which proves the thesis of infiltration and admitted by ministers after ministers in the Parliament of India. Hindu properties are not safe. They are grabbed and burned. And United Nations can't be silent on this. International Hindu organizations has appealed to United Nations. And I will hope and pray that India government will also do the same. And talk should be on that an Indian parliamentary team should visit Bangladesh and see what has happened and report back to government of India and the parliament. This can't go one-sided. And those who said and wrote and tried to make us believe that there had been communal violence in Bangladesh, it's totally wrong. It has been one-sided carnage and genocide against the minorities. There had been communal violence in the western borders, but the east, there was no communal violence. Because Bengali Hindus are generally intellectual community, not a martial community. And there has been a historical wrong done by Jogendranath Mondal himself. And there was divisions also. During partition, Barrister P.R. Thakur, the great-grandfather of Subroto Thakur and Shukanto Thakur, who is minister in the central government today, they favored that the Dalits should come to India, which Jogendranath Mondal at that time, who became the law minister of Pakistan, opposed, that they will be able to stay. And what happened at the end? Jogendranath Mondal himself couldn't stay and send a resignation letter which should be read times together. And the resignation letter was sent from West Bengal. This wrong approach of Jogendranath Mondal has done colossal damage to a section of Hindu population of Bangladesh. The culprits who have done this massacre, the government is saying they are arrested. And yesterday, a national news channel, Republic, was given statistics, one after other, that what has happened in the last 10 years. They have been arrested and nothing has happened to them thereafter. So this pseudo approach of arresting as a face-saving tactics and then forgetting, this will not end this process at all. And I am perplexed with the sarcastic silence amongst the so-called left liberal Lutean class. Those who were so concerned about Palestine, Nicaragua, Vietnam are saying Bangladesh is a foreign nation. We should not comment on Bangladesh. India has nothing to do. So what India has to do with Palestine then, with Nicaragua and Vietnam? Are they part of India? Logic should not be two-sided. That whenever you think it is suiting your case, the logic stands. Whenever you think that it is not suiting yourself, then the logic dilutes. And I am stunned by the way mindless terror has continued for days together. Many people are telling what happened to Gujarat. Have 1% minority population declined in Gujarat in last 75 years? Read the census reports. It has increased from nearly 7.5 during the time of independence to nearly 11.5 today. And what has happened to Bangladesh? I've told already. So I don't want to repeat it again. So it is not a question of Hindus and Muslims. It is a question of humanity. It is a question that in a postmodern age, why the identity of being part of a religious community will be of any concern of any state. The state will protect its citizens. That's its moral duty. Whether he is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a Buddhist or a Parsi or a Sikh, that is not a concern of the state. State should protect the citizen, and that's not happening in Bangladesh. State is concerned about the identity and the religiosity of the citizen. That is not a concern of a state. That is my individual preference. Whether I am a Hindu or a Muslim, Christian or a Buddhist, Parsi or a Sikh, that is my individual preference. And here, the state of Bangladesh, the government of Bangladesh should act. And our stereotype concept that some political parties are eternally secular, so whatever happens under them should be taken in that way, and some political parties are eternally communal according to some people's dictionary, and if simplest of simple thing happens in their cases, hue and cry should be organized. This very attitude is a sick attitude. Whatever has happened during the Khaleda Jia period in 2001 is as shameful as whatever is happening today during the tenure of Hasina. So there is no point that Khaleda was bad and Hasina is good. From Hindu perspective, in particular, and from humanitarian perspective in general, this proves that the government has failed. Such a nationwide organized attack on Hindus cannot be without a pre-planning. And this rumor spreading and starting carnage has been an old formula. It has happened in 1947. The rumor that Fazlul Haq has been attacked and there has been carnage in Barishal. When Fazlul Haq heard it, he himself went and told, "What you have done? Nobody attacked me." In the same way, writing a rumor, spreading the rumor, and then manufacturing an army of miscreants and then targeting Hindus, this has been a common practice in this subcontinent. And this proves that the society is neither liberal, nor secular, nor human. The society, whichever, Hindu majority, Muslim majority, whatever, should be tolerant, should be acceptable. There will be people believing in right to the center. There will be people believing in the left to the center. There will be people who are centralist. But have we learned to live with all these ideas together? No. The West is living. Why can't we? Because the education system has to be modified, keeping the parameters of postmodern age in the entire subcontinent. If you have a medieval thought process, medieval systems, running parallelly with modern systems, then you will have minds which are born with medieval ideas. And this will not stop till you don't accept that you should have a modern education system for each and all in this subcontinent. And still we can't do this because politics does not allow us to do this. Because if you have a medieval system of education, you have a standard vote bank. And there lies the tragedy. Because with a medieval mindset, you have a standard vote bank, and then you go on with this vote bank politics of appeasement. And it is happening everywhere, worldwide. Lesser in case of Euro-American, Australian countries, more in case of developing nations. So if we can do it, if we have the will to do this, then only we can think that there will be peace in Bangladesh. But very frankly speaking, the future of Hindus in Bangladesh is grim. They will have two options in front of them: either to get converted and stay there, or to come to India. And the writing is clear in the world. And one of their very prominent leader, I don't want to name, her quotation is viral today in social media, told that Hindus, Buddhists, if they want to stay in Bangladesh safely, let them get converted or let them go to India. And if this is the mindset, then India should be clear that this time it should not be that we will only take the minorities, but Bangladesh government should also pay the property prices of the minorities to India. They have not done so in case of Pakistan. They have not done so in case of Bangladesh. During partition, India paid the share of Pakistan to Pakistan. Gandhiji told and India paid. And in Bangladesh, there was no clean transfer of population, as I told. When there is no clean transfer of population, as in the western part, you are sending people one-sided. So you pay the taxes of the property. In the western side, I admit there was a clean transfer of population. So Bangladesh is doing a demographic invasion in India, and Bangladesh is doing the same type of nuisance what Pakistan is doing in the western side in a different manner in the eastern side. So we should not have two different impressions about these two different countries. We should have same impression because ultimately they are doing the same thing. Taking advantage of our strategic friendship, Bangladesh is damaging the entire safety security of Eastern India. So with these words, I will say that better minds, liberal minds prevail. I will pray that peace prevails and the concept of living together with cooperation prevails. And as long as it prevails, we can think that South Asia will march towards prosperity. If it doesn't, then things will be difficult for each and all of us. With these words, I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to share my views with each and all of you. I also thank the participants who have been kind enough to share their time with me. Personally, I believe in the concept of non-violence and deeply believe in it. So any violence in the name of caste, creed, religion, political affiliation cannot be supported anywhere in the world in a postmodern age. And I pray to the Lord that this view prevails everywhere amongst each and all of us. Thank you to each of you.
Thank you, sir. We thank you for your soul-searching and eye-opening talk. I can say that your talk brings tears to our eyes, anger in our heart, but a clarity in our mind. Clarity about what has happened, what is going on, and what we should do. Now, friends, we are moving towards the section of question and answer session. So we have a few questions coming in our chat box. Let me start with a question from myself. Sir, we know that with the victory of radicals in Afghanistan, the jihadis are now emboldened and they wish to spread their tentacles everywhere, especially in South Asia. They have forced the minorities out of Afghanistan. They are terrorizing minorities now in Bangladesh, and they are doing unspeakable horrors against the minorities in Pakistan. Even in our country, in our own country, they wish to force the local minorities out of Kashmir. So how do you see this victory in Afghanistan and this all the movements of radicals going on in South Asia? Sir.
See, if you go by the census report of 1947, during 1947, on 1947, in Afghanistan's report, you please go through, there were nearly 14% Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists in Afghanistan. Afghanistan today has less than 1%. Where they went. So this has been the tradition. But this is not the tradition in Muslim majority countries of Malaysia. This is not the tradition of Muslim majority country of Indonesia. This is a peculiar thing in this subcontinent. Indonesia, 60% Muslims are there and 40% minorities are there. And 40% minorities, this percentage is more or less static for years together. It has not came down drastically in Malaysia. It's the same way with Indonesia. Bali has remained Hindu majority and it has remained. There's no torture on the people of Bali. So why this is happening in this subcontinent only? This is not happening in Dubai. There are huge number of Hindus there. This is a peculiar thing in this subcontinent. And India, by its acts, wanted to teach a lesson of compassion, which neither Bangladesh, nor Pakistan, nor Afghanistan learned. In India, the minorities are not bad, and they should not be bad. We have presidents like APJ Abdul Kalam. There have been minorities in the position of the president, vice president, prime minister, governor, chief ministers, chief justices, both at the Supreme Court and the High Court. We have minority commander-in-chiefs. But have Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan learned from this? No. The Indian leaders thought that Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan will learn from our disciplined, civilized behavior, but they have not learned. Now, India should clearly send the message as the major power, not only major power. India is today the fourth most important force on earth after China, Russia, and America. And we should do the needful. Our soft approach has been taken as granted. So this soft approach has to be changed, keeping our national interest intact. What we have not done for Afghanistan during the last regime, we have built up their parliament, we have built up roads for them, we have built up dams for them, and what behavior the Hindus, Sikhs, and others got just after the regime change? What we have not done for Bangladesh? We have sacrificed land for Bangladesh when there was transfer of lands. But what behavior we are getting? So this should not go on one-sided anymore. Even if you do a soft diplomacy, they will not take it in that manner. Our role in Bangladesh freedom struggle. Open the books. I have told this in my lecture. You see, have Pakistan ever written that they got their share at the time of independence when Gandhiji told to pay the share of Pakistan to Pakistan's exchequer? No, they never write. So if they believe in hard talk and hard diplomacy, and if we continuously believe in soft talk and soft diplomacy, only thinking that China will drip in and do something, so is not China spoiling the cases now? China is doing the same mischief China has conceptualized. So my personal opinion is India should move closer to America, closer to Europe, closer to Australia. And more we move closer to the NATO powers, I think things will cool down automatically. Our equation with the West should be strengthened. And our equation with Southeast Asia should be strengthened. The countries like Burma, Laos, Cambodia, the Buddhist majority nations of Southeast Asia. And then only things will come to a standard process. Otherwise, always we will be in the receiving end. And small countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan will do this type of carnage. And the major power, the regional superpower will remain silent and watch it going on days and years together. This is too much. We should act, and act smartly and boldly. No more soft diplomacy with the neighbors. Enough of it.
Sir, there is another question coming from Dr. Piyush Pratap Singh, who is a faculty at JNU. He says that you have argued in your lecture that a modern education system is required. But how can you say that a modern education system is required when many of the terrorists and radicals in modern times are educated, well educated, and even they are educated in Western countries like USA, UK, and Europe, and with the best of their education, they still end up becoming human bombs. So how can the modern education solve this problem?
Very pertinent question and very strong argument. First, I admit this. Very pertinent question and very strong argument. There is no point defying this, but I will only say very humbly one thing. When we say that this is right and this is wrong, we take a case study. If 100 people take modern education, majority remains in the right track and learns the skills of living in a liberal democratic society. A minority section turns up to be what you say violent and terrible. On the other hand, the medieval education practically guarantees that the majority section will turn up to be that, and what we are experiencing in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. So you count with case studies, my friend. Like if I study, there is no guarantee that I will get a job. But if I don't study, there is a guarantee that I will remain unemployed. I can do business, but I'm thinking from the job perspective, salaried job case study. So I think that modern education system, it may not be a foolproof, but it will at least bring down this heated situation to a standard level where dialogue at least can start. With this hotheads, you can't go for discussion even. In a modern society, in a non-violent pattern, at least you accept that there are differences. And the differences has to be resolved through negotiation, not through arms, not through killing each other, not through violent ways, but through discussion, negotiation. At least this level has to be accepted. And I think modern education will do this much. And I accept your logic that there are a number of examples where English speaking, anglicized, modern educated boys have turned out to be the most horrible human being on earth. Right, you are. But I took the case study.
Sir, we will take one more question. And this question comes from Dr. S.S. Rajput, who is at IFLU, Hyderabad. How do you see the great Noakhali massacre of August 1947 in context of the recent violence against Hindus in Bangladesh? Sir.
First, I will say the organizers have been kind to give me a very learned audience. The questions say so. Very well-read audience. Sir, not only Noakhali, we talk about Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Have we ever read Chukhnagar Massacre? Much more Hindus were killed in Chukhnagar Massacre. But we remember only Jallianwala Bagh. Because the history books very calculatively have tried to erase those incidents which are politically incorrect if you take the Indian political structure into consideration, and mentioned only those which are politically correct, taking the Indian political structure into consideration for the last 75 years. You have remembered Noakhali on a day. Today is that day. On the day of Lakshmi Puja, Kajagari Lakshmi Puja, the Noakhali massacres took place. Sarup Prasad Mukherjee rushed. Gandhiji too rushed. And what have been the conclusion? The Deputy Registrar of Calcutta University, Dr. Dinesh Sinha, has written a book on Noakhali. And he has practically documented whatever happened line by line, word by word. Taking up areas, taking up persons. And if you read the book of Dr. Dinesh Sinha, I have read it once. I have not gone through it again because you will not be able to keep your tears I never think human being can be so crude, cruel. That doesn't come to my mind at all. What has happened? So, right, sir, Noakhali massacre, Chukhnagar massacre, one after another in Bangladesh, should be there in our history. And I would prefer that Indian students should be reminded of the great works of Professor Ramesh Chandra Majumdar, Sir Jadunath Sarkar, Neelkanto Shastri, Rakhal Das Banerjee, Nihar Ranjan Roy. We know what history has been written by Ifran Habib, Ramila Thapar, Ramchandra Guha, S. Gopal, Satish Kumar, Bipan Chandra, Tara Chand, we know. And I don't want to open that box today because that will be another long lecture. But everyone knows. Without going into deep details, everyone knows what they done, what they have done. So I will humbly request that let us go back to Professor Ramesh Chandra Majumdar, Sir Jadunath Sarkar. And it will be clear to us what has happened and what will happen if India doesn't become cautious and conscious.
Thank you, sir, for answering all the questions. We have some more questions, but due to paucity of time, we will not be able to take it. We must acknowledge the questions asked by Jagriti, Suchanand Natua, and Dr. Gopal Parihar. Now we move to the section where there will be a concluding remarks. Dear friends, now it's my honor to invite Professor Arun Khairat to give his concluding remarks and propose vote of thanks. Professor Khairat is former director, HRDC JNU. He is also the former director of IQAC JNU. He is author of many books and an able administrator. Now I request Professor Arun Khairat, sir. Professor Arun Khairat. Professor Khairat, I think your volume is less, so we are not able to hear you. Kindly increase your volume, sir. Professor Khairat, sir, kindly increase the volume of your system, sir.
Just a moment.
Go on, sir.
Can you hear me?
Sir, please go on, sir.
Yeah. So, good evening to all, and especially the learned talk by Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh on a very important topic, very sensitive topic, and very disheartening to realize and know how Hindus have been killed and how Hindus have been harassed in the 2021 time period. And this has been a continuously happening according to what beautiful statistics he has provided. The decline of Hindus was noticed at a rate of 1% since these various census took place. And after 1947 particularly, the rate has increased. So where Hindus have disappeared is a very beautiful question, very sensitive question it is. And why we are talking only in 2021, the actions or the harassment or the killings against the Hindus have been targeted since long back. And this is probably the cost that we are paying about 1947 partition and then followed to make another Eastern Pakistan. So it's very beautiful articulated talk, specifically explicating and differentiating what is ethnic clearance and what is communal clearance. It's true that it's no more secularism, and these countries cannot be called secular countries. Basically, the administrators have not provided any sort of support to the minorities as compared to the North America, Europe, and very own South Asia, India, where the minorities of late have been shown to increase in the percentage. Contrarily, in Pakistan and in Bangladesh, Hindus and the minorities percentage is declining dramatically. In itself explained that the administrators have, though they say it is a secular country, but their actions do not go in the secularism. So this is a very serious issue. And at the same time, we should not just think that Bangladesh alone is suffering, Hindus are only suffering in Bangladesh or in Pakistan. Rightly pointed in the questions also by Dr. Pranav, that very own in India, the Kashmir Hindus were suffered, and it is continuously going on. In particular, probably the CAA is seeded newly, and also the Afghanistan new regime. So these are the things, especially we need to take into serious account. Not just the international alliances supporting India should speak to UN, but the government and also the all Indians living in inland should also think about and should also go ahead in finding out the ways how we can protect our own Hindus residing in such countries. Because Malaysia example was very beautiful. There are Hindus living in Muslim dominant countries, including Middle Eastern part also. But there are no as declining or as harassment as we can experience or as we can notice in Pakistan, Eastern Pakistan, so-called Bangladesh, and also presently in Kashmir. So Pragyanan JNU, who has organized a very important topic today, and having invited the director Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies, Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh, who's a really learned person, and it was a feast for me, and a lot of statistics that I got to know. And he just did not bring the statistics about Hindus in Bangladesh, but also he has brought statistics of other minorities and other part of the world. So very learned person. I also would like to thank the organizers of Pragyanan JNU, particularly to take initiative and organize such a beautiful and meaningful webinar. Dr. Pranav, Dr. Somejit Ray, particularly, who brought introductory remarks and actually developed a tempo particularly and made a proper floor so that Dr. Ghosh can continue on the same line. And it was amazing that how two different people connected very well, probably because they belong to the same type of West Bengalis. Could be that, and they know the whole history about how illegal immigration has very well known, like USA does not encourage illegal immigration. And very recently, India has taken a step, and we are probably paying the price of the same, but we should not stop, because we need to protect ourselves within the land and outside the land. Whoever are our Indians, Hindus, we have to protect. So with this, I thank all the participants who have come from different institutes in India, across India, outside India also. And today's learned speaker, Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh, the introductory remark, Dr. Somejit Ray, and all the core team of Pragyanan JNU. Thank you very much. The floor is back to you, Pranavji.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, Professor Kharat, for your very beautiful concluding remarks. With this concluding remarks, we come to the end of our today's eye-opening session. Friends, once again, I request you to kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and encourage others to do so. At the end, before departing, let us join our palms together and pray for both peace within and without. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om.